Okay. Zok Tehelig Gemara. We're starting the new parak today, and we're going to be learning all about Basar B'chalav. Kol HaBasar. Zok Tehelig Mishnah at the bottom of Kuf Gimel on the base. Kol HaBasar. Osir Lavashel B'chalav. You're not allowed to cook basar with chalav. Chutz mi basar dogim b'chagav, which means it includes basar oif, because the only thing it doesn't include is basar dogim and chagav. Okay, this is going to be mashma that there is in fact an isur deraisa to cook basar oif b'chalav. We'll see how that plays out. So Zok Rashi, Yafagav Omer Achmona Gedi, who adin l'chayev ve'oif, who miflik pligi but come on, we're soon going to have a machlokes, ikal l'mandavar deraisa, the ikal l'mandavar derabon. Oh, so I said we're on Kufi Gimel of the base, we're on Kufi Beis of the base now. Okay, the also lahalas in magvina ala shulchan, puts mi basa dogim b'chagav. Not only is it also to cook it together, but the Israel's loy savashal. You're even also from having meat and milk on the same table. Again, chutz mi basa dogim b'chagav, which is very mashma. In fact, that it's even midaraisa basar oif, because even basar oif it's mashma you cannot have on the same table. And Rashi says, it's a gzera. Dilma osi lemichlinu kiyadadu. They might be eaten together. The kanogi uboli madadi. If they're both on the table, they can be touching each other and absorbing some taste from each other. Even though we're going to see in the Gemara that you're allowed to eat fleishiks after milchiks. So why are we so worried? The Gemara is going to have to explain why we're so worried having both basar and gevina or basar and chalav on the table at the same time. Now let's turn on to today's own. Oh, I'm sorry, I was right. It was Kuf below the base. And now we're getting on to Kuf Daled. So the Gemara, the Mishnah Vayter, Hanoidim Nabosar. What if someone makes a neder? I will not eat basar. Mutter v'basar dagim b'chalav. It's also mutter to eat basar dagim b'chalav, but oif will be asur. So it's mashma even lagabe hilchos medorim basar oif has the din of basar. Let's see Rashi. So Rashi, when it comes to the dorim, it doesn't follow the same parameters as basar b'chalav. Because kol noider ein daitoi ela acher loshen b'nei adam shehu koirei shem adoverkan. Nedarim aren't told in how the Torah dictates on it. It's totally in what the normal vernacular of people is, what they refer to when they say a specific word. And that could actually change from time to time. Yashmina masnisin, the chol min basar, adam kerei basar, chutz mi basar dogim b'chagav. People do not refer to fish as meat, but they refer to chicken as meat. And therefore, if someone says, I will not eat basar, he's also prohibited from eating basar oif. Dr. Gemara, ha'oif also midaraisa. It's clearly mashma in our Mishnah that basar oif with gevina is also midaraisa. Dr. Markama, who holds that basar oif is also midaraisa, the loiker Rabbi Akiva. This would not be consistent with the shita of Rabbi Akiva. The Rabbi Akiva, ha'amar chayev va'oif einay minatay. Rabbi Akiva said that there is no Issa Daraisa to eat basar oif b'chalav. Zok to Gemara, let's see how this plays out. Lagabe hilchos nedor. Ema said, hanoide min basar muter bebasar dogim b'chagav. It's mashma ha'oif also. It's mashma that oif would be also. Also, Rabbi Akiva. This is consistent with Rabbi Akiva. Because by the Dorim, Rabbi Akiva says, the Omer kol mili de mimlech alei shliach bar minei. He holds that even if when I say meat, I don't mean chicken. But what if I send my servant, my shliach, to buy meat for me, and he calls me from the store, and he says, "There's no beef here, but there is chicken. Would you like me to buy? So even though you wouldn't refer to chicken as meat, but it's associated enough with meat that it would be offered up by a shliach as a substitute, that's enough where it would also be included in Isser Nidar. The Tanya we learned, if someone made a neder, he will not eat vegetables. Mutter b'dluin, he's allowed to eat gourds. Rabbi Kiva says, no, he's not allowed to eat gourds. Amr loyle Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva's associates told him, if someone sends his messenger, Kach lonu yerek, go buy for us yerek. What will the shliach respond? I didn't find yerek, but I found Deluin. So you see clearly it's not yerek, because if it was yerek, he would have just bought it and followed instructions. Omer lahed. So Rabbi Kiva said, exactly your example is why I do include Deluin in the Isser of yerek. Why? Because he wouldn't say, I found kidneys, because that has no shaykhs. It's like I'm sending you to the store to buy me meat. And you call me and says, I couldn't find meat, but I found nuts and bolts. Would you like those instead? No one's going to say that. So obviously, the fact that it's something that a shliach would offer up as a substitute is enough that would also be included in his isser when he made such a net. So, Frank the Gemara, based on this, are you suggesting that the Reisha Rabbana, because the Reisha is not consistent with Rabbi Kiva, the Sefer Rabbi Kiva, or Rabbi Yosef? Yeah, it makes sense to say, because it's a third time, it's Rabbi the Nosiv La Alibo de Tanoi. Binidorim Savalak Rabbi Kiva. Binidorim, he holds like Rabbi Kiva that anything that could even be remotely associated with Basar is considered Basar. That's why Basar Oif is included in the Isser of a neder not to eat Basar. And when it comes to B'Basar B'Chalov, Savar L'Karabanon, that Basar Oif is Asar Midaraisa, unlike Rabbi Kiva, who says that it's only Asar Midarabah. Beautiful. Rabashi Omar, Kula Rabbi Kiva. Let's say we can suggest that the whole Mishnah is Rabbi Kiva. The first part of the Mishnah is mashma that Basar Oif is Asar Midaraisa with Gavina. V'Havik Omar, Kala Basar Asar Lavashal. But not all of it is Asar Midaraisa. Mehen Midivrei Torah, Umehen Midivrei Seifrim. Chutz mibasar dagim v'chagavim she'enam, which are not also to eat with meat, with milk, loy v'divrei Torah, loy v'divrei sefer. So we could massage it in that it should fit nicely, even according to Rabbi Kiva sheet. So here we have clearly illustrated the machlokes whether or not basar oif with milk will be asur midaraisa.
I'd like to point out that when the Bnei Yisrael asked for basar, the Rebbeinu Shalom delivered off.
Slav.
Right?
That's a good point.
So that may put it in its category. Is this argued at all in the Gemara?
I don't think so. But at the end of the day, everybody seems to agree. At least Rabbi Kiva says, even Rabbi Kiva says that when people say basar, they do mean basar.
Okay.
So Hashem was answering their request for basar, not how Hashem identifies basar, because it's not Hashem on his own saying, "I'm bringing basar." You want basar? Okay, I'll bring you what you want. So they, derech b'nei adam, is to refer to basar as well as basar. That's a good point. Okay, Zok to Gemara. Not only are you not allowed to eat meat and milk together, you're not even allowed to have them both on the same table. Rabbi Yosef, Shema Mina, this must be a riot that basar oif b'chalav is deraisa. Once again, why? If you hold the basar oif at worst case scenario, even cooking it together is only an issue of Rabbanan, well then achila gufa gzeira. Even eating basar oif b'chalav is a derabbanan, because the iser is lo sevashel gedi b'chalav. Achila is only miderabbanan. So achila gufa is only a gzeira. Vanan nigzar gzera Allah otu achila. How would we make a gzera l'gzera? It's like the rabbanon upon the rabbanon. Zok the Gemara, who said you don't make a gzera l'gzera? Umino temra the loy gazrina gzera l'gzera. Who said we don't do that? Now Tosfos asks something very important. Umino temra the loy gazrina gzera l'gzera. Zok Tosfos is a Yosy in Shas. The Kama Mekoymes Omar he gufa gzera. So in our Gemara, the understanding is you do make a gzera. In our Gemara, the understanding is we're making a gzera. I'm sorry, you are making a gzera because that's what we have over here. We have we're answering even basar bala, but in some places the Gemara says we can't do that. We're perik b'matlik in the breish beitz of hacha beinin lasuya raya in gzera the halah atuachil. Some places we protest making l'gzer, and some places the Gemara considers it normal. Zokt Tosfos amen Yosy. Ein ledamos gzeres chachamim zulazu. You cannot compare one gzer to the other gzer. We don't know the urgency of each gzer. Therefore, we can't assess where gzer l'gzer would be appropriate and where it wouldn't be appropriate. When the Gemara asks a kasha from one to another, so the Gemara is telling us these two are of similar severity. But we on our own wouldn't be able to ask such a kasha. That's a good way of diffusing a whole lot of kashas. Okay, Zok the Gemara. Uminot temra the loy gazrina gzer l'gzer. It's not be learned. Chalas hutzlar. We know there's a mitzvah to be mafresh chala. It has the same kedusha as truma, reishis arisai seich. Now we are mafresh chala in chutz la'aretz, even though it's not deraisa, because we don't want to forget hilchas chala. But if you ever noticed, we're not mafresh trumas and maishus. You ever wondered why is it that we are mafresh chala, even though we're in chutz la'aretz? As a gzera to remind us of chala, which is how Tosfos understands it. Yet trumas and maishus we don't. So Tosfos says that everybody makes bread. It's a household thing. If we wouldn't be mafresh chala nowadays, we would forget about it. So that's why they enacted chala even b'chutz la'aretz. But if trumas and maishus primarily is taken by professionals, by farmers, not everybody's farmers. So therefore, they didn't feel the need to make such a gzera. That's what Tosfos says over here at the bottom. It's a long Tosfos. It's not kalas chutz la'aretz turning on to Amud Beis. You know, if we're here and Tosfos is here, let me just see if I can point out those words in Tosfos. If you look at the bottom of Tosfos, the second to the bottom line, towards the end of the line, lekach nira shebechala yesh lochish yoiser deloy tishtachach mishum d'shaycha b'chol adam hamagalgal isas. About truma ein regilim bo elavali karkois umamrichi tvois, and that's why they weren't kois. So let's turn on to Amud Beis. Normally, a zor is not allowed to sit with a kohen, and the zor eats chullin, and the kohen eats truma. But chalas chutz la'aretz is the chalas imazor al hashulchan. That's one kula of chalas chutz la'aretz. And kula number 2 by chalas chutz la'aretz is v'nitnis l'chol kohen sheyutz. You can give it to any kohen. Let's see Rashi. Nechelas l'kohen imazor. We're not concerned that if from the same table, the zor might take some challah and eat it. The only reason why it's usher to eat chalas chutz la'aretz is a gzera that chalas Yisrael, which a Yisrael really cannot eat, and that's so. Therefore, to say you don't even sit at the same table, that's a gzera l'gzera. Another kula of chalas chutz la'aretz is You don't have to have a special coin to give it to. You can give it to any coin. Zot Rashi afilu la'ama oretz she'ein mishamer b'tahar. You could even give it to an amoritz who will not be meticulous to keep it tahar. So we learned dafka machzikin, people who you could trust will keep it tahar. Yesh la menas, they will get the gift of challah. Alma, what do you see from challah schutz laretz? That b'dirabanan like us reading halal atu achil. So why is it that we do that when it comes to basar eif? Zok to Gemara, a beautiful, beautiful pshat. Amar layabai, bishlama iash mi'inan chalas chutz la'aretz ba'aretz. Bishlama, if we're talking about a scenario that's in Eretz Yisrael, you have chalas chutz la'aretz, which was only derabanan, but you were in Eretz Yisrael, where there might be real challah there, the ikal amigzah mishum chalas aretz. Daraisa. Don't eat chalas chutz la'aretz together with a kohen at the same table in Eretz Yisrael, because on that very same table, he might also bring real challah. If that was the halacha, then maybe you could bring me a raya that you know why chalas chutzlords, when you're only sitting down to eat in chutzlords, you know why you're not going to? You shouldn't elect a megzer. There's no bakum zera, because you're never going to find real challah here, because we're in chutzlords. So there's no zera. It can't come by mistake that you'll also eat challah, because you're never going to have challah in chutzlords. Aval hacha, when it comes to basam b'chalav, which is very relevant, isharis leilasuki oifu gvina. If you're going to allow him to bring oif and gvina on the same table, asi lasuke basar ugvina. He might also have basar ugvina umechel basar b'chalav deraisa, and you can eat basar b'chalav deraisa. Frank the Gemara, even if he'll eat basar and chalav, that's not deraisa, because maskav lo rabsheshes. Soif tzoinen b'tzoinen. Cold milk and cold meat, that's not the isur of basar b'chalav deraisa. The isur is if it's cooked together. So why would halal be asur atu eating them together cold? Even that's not a deraisa. Omer Abaye gzeira shemi yala be'ilfis reseach. We're afraid you'll put it into a hot pot. Zok Gemara so klisheni, a hot pot. If it wasn't there on the pot on the fire, it's weiter not a real bishul. B'chol klisheni edim avash. We're afraid you'll have meat and milk in a cooking pot together, and you'll bring that. So if you merely eat on a table where there's basar and chalav, we're afraid that there'll be a direct link to eat milk and meat that's actually cooked together.
Which is still, at the end of the day, a gzeira on a gzeira.
Why is it a gzeira on a gzeira?
Because achila is a gzeira itself.
Even if it's cooked, it's a gzeira itself.
Right? You started with bishul, you go to achila, and now we're going to halal.
Right. But at this, you're right. So at this point in the Gemara is saying that a gzeira is justified when justified.
Right.
When there's a real chash. So Rashi says that chalas chutz la'aretz you could give even to somebody who's not machzik b'teres Hashem. It's mashma a kohen that's completely off the derech can get chalas chutz la'aretz. Let's look at Tosfos. V'nitnis l'chol kohen sheyirtze pirish b'kuntris da'afilu einay machzik b'teres Hashem, even if you're not showing Torah mitzvahs, yitnu loy chalas chutz la'aretz. Zok Tosfos ve'nir l'ri the havadumya the hanu to shoyna achar mishnah zoyts. This would be similar to the cases discussed after that mishnah, this of chalas chutz la'aretz. The choshev adayu there discussing zroya l'chayayim and keva. The amrina l'kaman beperka zroya she'en yitnois l'mi she'en machzik b'teres Hashem. You don't give these items to a kohen who's not shomer Torah mitzvahs. Like hak nir l'Rabbeinu Yitzchak, the halcha ma'iri here you only give it to a kohen na'ma'aretz is b'dolek a kohen chaver. Either you don't have any kohen to give it to otherwise. Inami ika kohen chaver shu osher v'einu oitz l'kabel. or you have a kohen chaver who's an usher and he refuses to accept these matnas kahuna. So you don't have a kohen to give it to, or a bigger chiddush. Even if the usher will be accepting of it, you don't want to give it to him. Give it to tzarich. V'zeh amaretz only. You have somebody, a kohen, who's an amaretz on, he's desperate for food, so you're going to give it to the rich kohen. V'tzarich. Shemitzuvam lachyoysa, you're mechuyev to help him survive. Shem lo yitnu lo, if you're not going to give him this challah, yitztachu losas lechulun. You'll have to give him chulun, which costs you more. The kamash malon, the yochal litein af al pi she'ein baki v'tumah v'tayra. You're allowed to give it to him, even though he's not a baki in tumah v'tayra. We're not worried that he'll eat it when he's tummy. He will be careful to eat it when he's tummy. But challah deraisa of Eretz Yisrael ain't a nitlis el a koyin chaver sheishmerena b'tahira. Afilu lekach koyin chaver. You have to hold on to it. Al yitnen el koyin havarch al yamtim achiz dam and loy koyin chaver. I was trying to figure out yesterday, and I don't know the answer. Our challah we just burn. We don't give it to any koyin. Isn't our challah standard challah chutz la'aretz? So why can't we give it to a kohen? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what halach is. The Shulchan Aruch paskins like this Gemara that you can give it to any kohen. So I'm not sure what status our challah has, unless there's a machlokes about this. But the poskim, the Shulchan Aruch just brings this Gemara down.
Yosy, maybe because we're all in the status of tumah anyway. Even the
right. So then let him eat it. If it's only their bun, let him eat it b'tamasa. So let's give it to a kohen. Why would you burn it? Give it to a kohen. Let's all every Erev Shabbos when your wife is challah, instead of burning it in the oven, let's take it over to Mordechai Manabav's house.
But Tosis is not saying that. Tosis is saying we're not.
The Tosis being about something else. I'm not talking. I'm not referring to Tosis. I'm referring to the Gemara. The Gemara says that chalas chutz la'aretz you give to a kohen amaretz because we're not worried if he's tummy. Because anyway, it's only with derabon. Unless it means give it to the amaretz and you'll assume he'll eat it b'tahira. But if you know for sure he's tummy, there you can't.
The Gemara doesn't say that. The Gemara says exactly that.
If you look at the long Tosfos says that the only type of kohen that shouldn't eat chalas chutz la'aretz is a kohen that's a bal keri. But a kohen who's a tummy mace is allowed to eat it. Tosfos says that. Maybe we don't hold it Tosfos. But Tosfos does say that. So when I saw Tosfos, that's when I was very perplexed. Because Tosfos nowadays, you give it to the kohen. So that's what I didn't understand. Okay, so to go about it.
Isn't a balkari less of a tumah than a mace?
Yes, but the balkari is tumah yoytze megufa. So that's why even on harabayis, a balkari cannot come into certain places where a tumas mace could. Tumah yoytze megufa is considered to be a little bit more chomer. The discussion is Zov and Zava as well. It's up to Heilige Mishnah. Ha'oif oila imagvina alash. Basar oif you could have with gavina on the table. Ve'ein necha, but it cannot be divrei Beishama. So clearly Beishama is arguing on the first Mishnah. Ubeisilu oimrim loy oila v'loy necha, which seems to be consistent with our first Mishnah. Amar Yosy, Zu meikule Beishamai u'meicheber Beisil. This is from the unique cases where Beishamai is mekel and he's not geyser halal atwachil, where Beis Hillel is machmer. Be'ezeh shulchan amru, when we're saying you can't have them on the same table, according to Beis Hillel, that's b'shulchan she'oichel, that's where you're eating. It's a tafshil, but on your counter or on the counter in the store, but at checkout, because the only concern is you're going to eat them together. But in a place where you're not eating, that's not going to be a concern. Rabbi Yosy, Hainu Tanakama. Isn't the words of Beis Hillel the same as the Tanakama? So Rabbi Yosy said, Zumi kula b'shama yu'mechuma Beis Hillel. So that's directly repeating what the Mishnah said a second ago. That Beis Shammai holds it's oil ala shulchan, and Beis Hillel holds it's not oil ala shulchan. So why did Rabbi Yosy have to repeat Zumi kula b'shama yu'mechuma Beis Hillel The Tana already presented it perfectly and obviously. I don't need Rabbi Yossi to point this out. It's obvious. So to Gemara, I'll tell you what Rabbi Yossi is trying to tell us. Ika b'nai, the Amr Tanakama b'haloka miflagi b'achila loy pligi. The Tanakama says everybody holds side by side by still hold. You can't eat basar oif and gvina together. It's merely a shiloh whether you can have them on the table together. Amalei Rabbi Yossi achila gufei mikula b'shamai u'mechuma b'esel. Rabbi Yossi is maybe telling us that they're arguing about achila as well, and that Beis Shammai holds you're even allowed to eat basar oif with kavina. In other words, there's no iser basar oif b'chalav, sai not derabban, deraisa, and sai not even derabban. Maybe that's what Rabbi Yossi is coming to tell us. For Ektamar, that's impossible, because Vatanya Rabbi Yossi Omer Shisha Dvar Mikula B'Shamai V'Chum B'Yisrael. There are 6 items and 6 items only that are Mikula B'Shamai V'Chum B'Yisrael. V'Zu Achas Mehen Oif Oila Ima Gvina Ala Shulchan Ve'Nechel D'Rabbi Shammai V'Yisrael Evim Lo Oila V'Lo Nechel. So if it was also a Machlokes and Achila, so then that's what Rabbi Yossi should have said. Elavai, clearly Rabbi Yossi holds that they don't argue by Achila, and even Beis Shammai holds that it's also to eat basar oif with gvina. So once again, what is Rabbi Yossi adding to the Tanakama of our Mishnah? Elohaka Mashmalam, Man Tanakama Rabbi Yossi. All Rabbi is trying to tell us is that the author of our Brisa is Rabbi Yossi, and Kol Eimer Dover B'Shem Oimroi. If you say something in the name of the person who's the author, maybe Gula Loy. Kenemar, the famous pasuk, Tomer Esther Lamelach B'Shem Mordech. Now Rashi has an interesting point. Why didn't it just say Rabbi Yossi Omer? Why does the Rebbe stick it in later? Zok Toishvis, Zok Rashi, Kol Eimer Dover B'Shem Omer, Zok Rashi, V'atan Shokach V'lo Hisker Shmoi B'Tchila. The Tana forgot to mention Rabbi Yossi's name, and therefore V'chazer V'Hisker Shmoi. So rather than amend the whole Mishnah, he wrote the Mishnah omitting Rabbi Yossi's name, then added it in afterwards to illustrate that it's so important to come back and identify the Baal HaMember. Zok to Gemara Vayta. Tana Igra taught us, and who was Igra? Chamua de Rabba. He was the father-in-law of Rabba. And he said as follows: Oif ugavina necholin ba'apikorin. What does apikorin means? They're hefker. You can eat meat, milk, you don't have to worry about it. Now, we have to look at the order. Here's his oif ugavina. Tomashma even oif first and gvila later, but that's not going to be so much. Zok Gemara, who Tani love, who Amr love. Igra quoted it, and Ugra explained it further. Beloy nitila shadayim. You don't have to wash your hands in between. And uveloy kinuach hapeh. You don't even have to reach your mouth out. What does Rashi say? Beloy kinuach hapeh. Clearly, Rashi is saying it doesn't matter which one you ate first. Sai, you don't have to wash your hands, and Sai, you don't have to clean your mouth out. For sure, you do need to reach your mouth out. Like we're going to see in the Gemara soon. So none of the first should be stuck in your teeth. Rashi doesn't say minabotzer. Rashi is minarisha. So no matter what, you have to clean your mouth. Zok to Gemara Vayta. Rabbi Yitzchak Bered Rabbi Meshasha Ikloi Lebei Rabashi. Rabbi Yitzchak Bered Rabbi Meshasha came to the house of Rabashi and isolate Gvina Achal. They brought him cheese, he ate it. And then right afterwards, isolate Bisra, they brought him meat. Achal. V'loi Moshe Yodeh. And he did not wash his hands. Amrele, they told him, how could you not wash your hands? It's only oif ugavina nechol b'apikar. Oif ugavina in, basar ugavina loy. So how is it that you didn't wash your hands after the cheese before you ate the meat? Abalahu, hani mini bilelia. You know when you have to wash your hands? That's at night when you can't see. Make sure your hands are clean. Mama, I see that my hands are clean, as Rashi says. Zog to Gemara, Tanya Beishamai Omer Mikaneach. You have to, when you after Basar or between Basar and Gvina, you have to do kinuach. Kinuach means with a dry substance, like soft bread you swallow and it wipes out your mouth. No, you rinse your mouth out with water. What do each of these Tanoim mean when they say kinuach and when they say mediach? So let's turn on to Kufay. Ilema b'shamay over mekaneach v'loy mediach u'v'sil over mediach v'loy mekaneach. One holds you need one holds you needs the other. That can't be because al hod omer abzeir ein kinuach he ela b'pas. Come on, ki beishamay. You're going to say abzeir is aligned with beishamay, not like b'sila. Ela beishamay over mekaneach v'loy mediach. You mekaneach is enough, and you don't need mediach. You need Mekanech and Mediyah. Back tomorrow, if that's the case, this is another example. And if that's the case, it should be listed. Dr. Gemara, Ella, Beishamay over Mekanech, Vuadin Lamediach, Vesila over Mediach, Vuadin Mekanech, Mara Machada, Veloy Pligi. They both agree you need both, but they were each discussing one or the other. Okay, I want to go back. We have a couple of minutes, and I want to go back to the Toishvis on Amud Beis that gets into this issue with kinuach and edacha, eating meat right after milk, and vice versa. So let's go back to this Toishvis. It's a very important Toishvis. Oif ugavina in, bos ugavina lo. How could you, Rabashi, eat? How did Rabbi Sharsha eat meat right after the milk? You didn't make kinuach vadocha. So he said, no, now it's daytime. Correct, Tosis, we have much bigger issues here. Tema, achar basar, a basar achar gavina. How could the Gemara compare someone eating cheese after meat to someone eating meat after cheese? The Rabbi Yitzchak, what did Rabbi Yitzchak eat? He ate gavina the achakach basar. So you can't compare that to eating first meat and then basar. So let's have a look. Rabbi Yitzchak, Beredin Basharsha, he ate first gavina and then he ate basar. How could you ask me a kasha from eating basar first? The Hachi Parach. The Bryce of the Igra Mashma, the Bryce of Igra's Mashma, Oif u gavina nechal b'afikoyer, v'lidin til shadayim, uveli kinuach hapeh. Aval shar basar, it's much from other basar, boy netila v'kinuach hapeh. Now, if a case of basar and gvina, in between them, you need netila kinuach hapeh. Under what circumstances would you need this netila and kinuach hapeh? Ve'chedam, basar tchila. If you ate meat first, well then afilu b'netila v'kinuach loisagi atu da'achriti kida amr b'sag. The discussion can't be you need kinuach and adocha after you ate meat before you eat milk, because there you got to wait till the next suda. So there, even kinuach and adocha wouldn't help. So it must be that even if you're eating the gavina first, you would still need kinuach and adocha before you ate the basar. And that was the kasha on the B'yitzak B'yitzak Masharsha, and there he said, since it's by day, I don't have to. Alava gavina tchila. V'hadin nachat hacha. Basar gavina loidak. It's not accurate. It's el gavina ubasar. Gavina ubasar kinuch and edacha is required. But basar gavina kinuch and edacha wouldn't even help. El gavina ubasar. Gavina basar law, you would need kinuch and edacha. The agav the maske rebraisa oy tchila nachat nami hacha basar tchila. But avada, if you ate basar tchila, kinuch and edacha wouldn't help. Bryce is not going to tchila. The reason why the Bryce have to tchila is because it's a bigger chiddush. Even if you ate the meat first, you could still eat them one after the other. Ta'achal basar, also lechol gvina, that we say if you ate basar, you're not allowed to eat cheese. Hainu beloy netila v'kinuach, aval b'netila v'kinuach shari. Rabbi Tam holds that you are allowed to eat milk right after meat with netila and kinuach. Achal gvina mutar lechol basar, af beloy netila v'kinuach. Umar ukva, achal atzudah chariti, and that Mar Ukva didn't eat it till the next meal. Hainu beloy netila v'kinuach. So Zot Toshis, that's one shot, or Inami Machmer Alatzmehoy. So Rabbeinu Tam is Gor Maple. He holds you can eat milk right after meat with simply Kinuach and Udacha. Ulefirushe Kosh. According to Rabbeinu Tam's school, it's very schwer. My par chacha Rabbi Yitzchak. What's the problem here with Rabbi Yitzchak? You're allowed to eat meat right after milk. You'd always have to wash your hands. We will not eat cheese after meat at all. We wait till the next meal. We don't fear like that. Dilma mishum the sabar boss oif b'chol of lav deraisa, but v'lekaim l'nachmiyol is deraisa, and therefore we are makbid not to eat them in the same meal, and that's why there's even in Hagim we wait 6 hours. There are people who wait even 24 hours, as we're going to see tomorrow. But we know yekis are only makbid on 3 hours, because how far apart your meals are would dictate that. Like. If you're in the winter, your meals are going to be closer together because the day is much shorter than it would be in the summer. And that's where the minute comes from. Yekis actually are only makbid on 3 hours. But most Ashkenazi Yidden, I believe, are makbid on 6 hours, some 5.5. But I believe the proliferated minute is 6 hours. Okay, we'll stop here. Shkoyach. Everybody should have an awesomely wonderful day.
You as well.
This is Erev Rosh Chodesh El, the last day to Chaparai Neveris before we have to start doing tshuva.
Elul.
Yeah. Okay, gewaltig.